Courtroom Chronicles family, good afternoon. Good afternoon. And yeah, welcome to another episode where we are unpacking what is happening in the Joshlin Smith case. Guys, we are on to something, and we'll be just continuing with these series until we reach the Friday judgment. And I just want us to check on things that we've missed. Remember, we were baking a cake, guys. Do you remember we're baking a cake? And I just have to say that what I found, this is part one. There's part two. When I was preparing this, I said, I can't just do part one. I need to do two parts. So be mindful and have this in mind that while you're watching this, there will be a part two. So this is part one. So there are so many missing ingredients. We didn't put in the eggs. We didn't put in a baking powder. We didn't put in, I don't remember us putting sugar. I don't know. I remember putting a pinch of salt. We are missing a lot of ingredients. And we need to look into more information. In fact, we are dealing with a puzzle, guys. We are no longer baking here. We are dealing with a puzzle. And there are so many pieces that are missing. And we need to get those missing pieces. Something just doesn't add up. Something doesn't add up. I don't know if I'm the only person who sees that or who has seen that. And I gave myself homework and said, let me go and find out. Let me go and dig and do a little bit of digging. And I found things. So today we're having a trial outside the trial. Yeah, you heard me. We are having a trial outside the trial. We've heard what happened in court. We've heard stories there, but we are having our own trial. We're trying to see where are the missing pieces of this puzzle, and we need to get to the bottom of it. So the key names I want us to discuss today, I need us to discuss Ayanda. Ayanda. I've been hearing about this name, and I've never done a video about Ayanda. So I think it's time. We need to discuss Ayanda. We need to discuss Gayton McKenzie. We need to go back and discuss Kelly and go back and discuss Renz, Laurentia Lombard. We need to talk about Stefano van Rijn. We need to talk about Jacqueline Apollos Buddha. But the key names that I knew I know some people or you have heard from other channels, but in my channels, this is the first time we're talking about Ayanda and Gayton McKenzie. So let's get into it. I needed two parts of this because part one was just going to take too long and I don't want you to be bored while watching. So the main story, Gayton McKenzie tells us how he met Kelly Smith. He tells us that he was having lunch and he gets a call from a counselor saying that there's a mother who is in favor of his party, Patriotic Alliance, and the PA, that this mother has a missing child. And upon talking to this counselor, it says, okay, bring the mother, let me meet the mother. He says that the first time, these are his claims, guys. All of this is alleged, but I said we need to have a trial outside the trial. We need to hear these claims, these allegations, and try and tie them together with what we had in court. So this is what we're talking about today. So now he says he meets this lady. She introduces herself and say, my president. Said that's the first thing that Kelly Smith said, my president. And then said, okay. They went inside a car and she says, he said she hugged him. And people were watching them, looking at them. And then they go inside the car. Then he asked the mother, tell me what happened. And then Kelly Smith says, the black people took my child. Here in the informal settlement, black people took my child. Then he says, black people, how, where? And then he upon questioning her and talking to her, she says that Kelly Smith, he can see that something is up, something is not adding up, but he can't pinpoint what it is. Then he makes conclusions that I don't have the full details right now, but I will try and get back to this. Then he says a search is conducted. People are already searching for the child. So the community is outside and already searching for the child. Then Kelly Smith says to him, let us drive around. Let's just go and drive around. He asked and said, but people are looking for a child and we are going to drive around. Said she insisted that they go and drive around. And then Gayton begins suspecting that something is off here. Something doesn't make sense. And then he tries to, but he can see that he doesn't have all the pieces to the puzzle. So now he decides to gain Kelly Smith's trust, buys her a phone. Later, he mentioned that he even bought her 1,000 rand, gave 1,000 rand and said, this is for a time or you'll buy whatever that you need, And then he says that even after this, he couldn't get Buddha, the boyfriend, to talk. He wanted to get time to talk to him, but Kelly will just be around. And guys, remember, a constable said something like this in the trial. I want us, whenever I say the claims or what Gayton McKenzie alleges, I want us to go back to what we had in court. Do you remember one of the constables saying that he wanted to speak to Buddha, but seeing that he's reserved, he's an introvert, and Kelly was overpowering him, not giving space so that he can be questioned. She was just always around. So Gayton McKenzie said he noticed this, that, this guy is quiet, but if I can talk to him, but there just wasn't time to talk to him. So now, those are the similarities that I wanted us to look at. And then he says, okay. And then after 6 days, the mayor says the investigation is off, gives him a letter. And he says all of a sudden the mothers are crying. Everyone is complaining, asking him, are you going to leave us? People were crying and asking. And he said, I am not going anywhere. He says that he started being obsessed about this case. He wanted answers. He couldn't even go back home. He was sleepy. There was a time he didn't sleep for 3 days because day and night they were busy. And then he notices that people are hungry. He tells one of his protectors to go and get chicken from KFC. Then everyone eats. And now there's a relationship between the community and him. He says a search was conducted. And after 6 days, the mayor says the search is off. Then comes Begicele. Says he had a meeting of his own because these people now are used to him. You've seen him there when the search was there. Now the DA also had their own meeting. And now Begicele comes and he has his own meeting. But no one goes to the DA's meeting. No one goes to Begicele's meeting. Everyone is just looking at him. He's standing on top of his bike and addressing people. Then he says Begicele comes to him and then he addresses people. And before that, he says, he asked as Gayton McKenzie and say, I hear that the investigation is off, but we're still looking for the child. And Begicele is shocked. Who said the investigation is off? He said, here's the mayor. He gave me a letter. And he says, Begicele said, who said the investigation is off? Because there's no such thing. We as the police, I for one, don't know of such a thing. He says the mayor just became red. His face just went red. But there were no answers. That's what he told us. And then he says that certain individuals, from the SAPS said to him, you know what? People want you gone. They think you're interfering. They just want you gone. They don't want you. Please do not leave. Whatever you do not give up. Do not leave. Something is not right in this case. He says then, which only even confused him even further. But he told himself, I am staying. I want to know. Because something doesn't add up. There are pieces to this puzzle that just don't add up. And I'm bringing this to you. I'm just bringing something that is there. If you want to go and watch it, you can go and search and watch the whole thing. This was 3 weeks ago, around the 31st of March. And I did a little bit of digging and I'm coming with what I got. So I wanted to compare some of the things that he said and the things that we heard from the court trial. So we are having our own courts, our own trial outside the trial, yeah? So now this is where it gets interesting, guys. I need you to listen to me. Gayton gets a chance to speak to Steveno, our Steffi. He gets, and in court, we saw that video where Gayton is speaking to Steveno and he's eating there. So I'm not sure if this was the exact conversation, but we've seen that in court. So now Gayton gets a chance to speak with Steveno. So now we're in a different setting. There, just the two of them inside the car. And he's speaking to him. He says, this isn't the way that you and I communicate. It was a very different way. Remember, Mr. Gayton McKenzie is an ex-convict. He knows the lingo. He knows the rules. He knows a lot of things that happen inside that we don't. So he says that Stefano is not a soldier. He's at the gate. He's someone who wants to come in. Mina, I was in the ranks. So we spoke a different language, and it was like, it's just the two of us in a different setting, and we had a conversation. So he says he's speaking to him. They're using the gang lingo and the codes and the ranks, and he does some digging. And then he says that Stefano tells him about a man named Ayanda. There's that name that I'm looking for. I've heard of this Ayanda in court. I've heard that this is Laurentia Lombard has 4 kids. 2 of them are not staying with her, and 2 of them are Ayanda's kids. And she was in a fight set with Ayanda. So this is the father of her kids. And she had spoken about this in court while she was on the stand. So now this name comes back with, this is not the first time I've heard of this Ayanda. And Gayton McKenzie claims that and says that Stefano says, when he asks Stefano, where is the child? What happened? Then Stefano says, the child was sold to Ayanda. Boom. There's our boom moment, guys. That is our boom. We are having a trial outside the trial. We're trying to figure this out. We are putting the pieces together, and we're trying to see what he's saying. Because I liked what he said in his video. He just said, judge for yourself. Don't take my side. I just want you to listen, and then you'll have your own conclusions. I'm doing that. I'm just a messenger. I'm talking about something that is out there. Some people know it. Some of you have asked me in the comments about it, and I told you a video is coming. I'll do a little bit of digging. So I've done my digging, and I'm bringing in the receipts. I'm trying to figure out the puzzle that we have. Where are the missing pieces? And we're talking about it. And so now Ayanda walks in. Now he says, the name Ayanda is there. Then they go and fetch Ayanda. He's trying that the mob justice thing wouldn't happen because there were people who were angry upon hearing about this name. He goes and takes Ayanda. He takes him to a police station. When he gets there, he's told that Ayanda is not a suspect. Guys, I think this is where I have to end it, so that we'll start with our our part 2, because I said I don't want this to be too long. I want to keep you interested. I want to tell you, and then this is where now things happened. And I just want us to hold it right here, because if you ask me, this is too suspicious. There's a lot of things that are happening. It even gets deeper. So I need you to hold on and stick around for part 2. We are going to break it down to you, and you're going to get everything that you need to get. Part 2 on its way.